Welcome back. We're tackling one of RC's really persistent mysteries today. The whole story behind the Tamiya ORV chassis.
That's right. It's strange because Tamiya never gave this revolutionary platform an official name, even though it was the backbone for some true icons.
Exactly. We're talking the Subaru BRAT, that's kit 58038, then the Frog, 58041, and of course the legendary Blackfoot 58058.
Yep. So our mission for this deep dive is really to figure out why this naming gap for such a key chassis, and crucially, how do we end up calling it the ORV? Where did that name actually come from?
It is a huge paradox, isn't it? Tamiya, I mean, they're known for meticulous detail documentation, yet they just called this thing a sturdy ABS space frame.
Mm-hmm. Just a technical descriptor.
Right. And that's so different from what came later. You know, the TAs-01, the CC-01, all those systematic codes, they clearly engineered it brilliantly, but just skip the branding on this one.
Well, it all kicked off with the engineering back in 1983. This design was genuinely innovative for its time. Instead of heavy metal plates, you had these two quite intricate plastic halves. They snapped together, offered really good rigidity, but kept the weight down. A big step away from older designs.
Okay, so complex molds, serious investment. They launched it with the Subaru BRAT, what, mid-'83?
That's right. And almost immediately, they reused that tooling, which makes it was expensive for the Lancia 0-77 Rally just a few months later, model 58040.
But wait, if they didn't name the chassis itself, how are people supposed to talk about it, especially with multiple cars using it so quickly?
That's exactly the point. This quick reuse, to me, is sort of chassis as a platform strategy happening right there. It created this linguistic vacuum.
Right.
Think about being at the track, trying to share setup tips. You couldn't really say, oh, I'm using the Lancia chassis settings, could you? It's just clunky.
Yeah, way too long.
So the name ORV wasn't dreamed up in a Tamiya marketing meeting. It bubbled up from the community. A grassroots thing, really, just hobbyists needing a shorthand.
Okay, so it started with scale models like the BRAT and Lancia, but the chassis identity, that really got locked in with the third model, didn't it? The Frog.
Ah, the Frog. December 1983, kit 58041, that was the game changer. Because the Frog wasn't really a scale replica of anything specific.
No, it was a pure racing buggy, a purpose-built kind of fantasy design for performance.
And boy, did it perform. That design, independent suspension all around, proper oil-filled dampers, it wasn't just hype, it validated the whole platform.
You mean that famous race result?
Exactly. The 1984 German 1.10 Electric Off-Road Nationals. Get this, 6 out of the 8A finalists were driving Frogs. 6 out of 8, it just dominated.
Wow. Okay, so that performance kind of leads us to this tale of two meanings for ORV, right?
Mm-hmm. On the surface, the acronym seems obvious. Off-road vehicle describes what it is.
Makes sense. It is an off-road vehicle chassis.
But there's this folk etymology, the meaning the community really latched onto, especially because of the Frog's success. And that is original racing vehicle.
Original racing vehicle. I like that. And it fits, given the Frog's championship history and how it basically spearheaded Tamiya's push into serious off-road racing.
Absolutely. And what's interesting, too, is how versatile that basic chassis turned out to be. Tamiya then adapted it again, moving into the whole monster truck craze.
Right, with the Blackfoot, kit 58058, and then later the Monster Beetle 58060. Same fundamental space frame underneath. It just kept going.
It was a workhorse.
But let's be honest, it wasn't perfect. Part of its legacy, and maybe why the name stuck so hard, involves its famous quirks, its flaws.
Oh, yeah. Those flaws practically created the hop-up market for it.
If you ever ran one of these back in the day, you definitely remember that sound. That horrible gearbox click.
That sound, ugh. The sound of slightly too soft nylon gears meshing imperfectly because the plastic gearbox plates were flexing under load.
And the other classic weak spot?
The rear drive shafts, those hexagonal plastic ends, notorious for rounding off if you just look at them wrong, especially with a hotter motor.
So these weaknesses, they actually helped cement the name. How?
Because third-party companies making upgrade parts, stronger gearboxes, better drive shafts, metal braces, they needed a simple way to label their products.
Ah, so they couldn't list for Brat Frog Blackfoot Monster Beetle.
Exactly. They needed one term that covered all the cars using that chassis. So they started advertising things like, Thorpe counter gear for Tamiya ORV or CRP ORV gearbox brace.
And that commercial use just locked it in, made it semi-official, even if Tamiya never used it?
Precisely. So when you trace it back, the real author of the ORV name wasn't Tamiya at all. It was the collective, anonymous community of hobbyists back in the 80s. They just needed a practical name, and they created one.
It's more than just practical, though. You could argue it was the community signaling back to Tamiya, hey, we're paying attention to the chassis, the platform, not just the cool body on top.
That's a really interesting point. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Did this whole grassroots ORV naming thing, this proof that enthusiasts were tracking the chassis evolution, did that directly nudge Tamiya towards giving all their later platforms those specific codes, like the TA01, FS01, CC001?
Could be. A lesson learned from their customers.
Maybe. It leaves you with a final thought to everyone. What other iconic products out there in any field ended up getting their widely accepted names, not from the company that made them, but from the people who actually used and loved them? Think about that.